Let's talk about hairy guys. Oh yeah, hairy guys, because you know me. I have so many hair loss theories as far as ways to predict hair loss. It's hard to keep up with them. So you need to hear it in the comment section. It's funny, I actually had two people, like basically a comment apart, just minutes apart, send me two different stories that again reinforce one of the aspects of my hair loss prediction system. So let's start out with a video I made a while back called I Could Grow a Full Beard Since I Was 17 Years Old, which actually looking back, it was actually 16. Anyway, that was the name of the video I made. Someone with the name of W8, oh, it's weightlifter. It just spelled, okay, there we go, weightlifter, there we go. He says, quote, "What I have seen is that guys that have a hairy chest and stomach at an early age usually will go bald in life. I would rather have the hair on my head than on my chest," end quote. And wouldn't we all, right? So there's one person today already backing up my theory. When you watch the video, 5 more ways to predict if you're gonna go bald or if you lose your hair, one of the ways is that it's not just about the beard, it's about body hair as well. If you've got body hair at a young age, if it's enough where you're a teenager and other guys notice it if you're playing sports or something, whatever, then my theory teaches you're more likely to go bald sooner. It's funny because I'm hairier than most guys I've ever known. And I can't say this theory is proportionate, because if it were, I would have been bald by the time I was 20 based on how hairy of a person I am. I mean, I remember as a 16-year-old, as a 17-year-old, I was like at this mission trip in Ecuador through a church, and it was like a community shower kind of situation, and there weren't stall doors or anything. And I mean, everybody in the whole group, and that included men in their 20s, were all part of this group, and they noticed how hairy I was. And that was when I was 17. I'm that much more of a hairier guy now. So it's not that it's proportionate to how much body hair you have, but it's a sign that you're gonna not keep your hair on your head if you have so much as a teenager. That's one of my theories. Now let's check out the other comment that came in right after that, which is so interesting to me. Here it is. I made the video, and I'm proud of this video. Speaking of my hair loss theories, called "My Hair Loss Theories Are Not True. You're Wasting Your Time If ... Lord Blahino had this to say, quote, "You're like the unofficial balding expert. I really enjoy your videos, by the way. I commented a while back about being almost 30 and can't grow a full beard, and I've never been a hairy guy. Very little on my arm, chest, and back. But I'm adopted, so it's a crapshoot for me," end quote. So I responded to him and I said, you know, if you're 30, then yeah, I'll agree. You won't be balding. You've won the hair lottery. Congrats. You know, and that's a whole other point too. If you make it to 30 without any noticeable hair loss, you're probably, that in itself is pretty much a good sign. Now, as for me at age 30, my hairline wasn't much different than it is now, but that is when the thinning started setting in, which the new classification for me for my hair loss, according to all of you, is Norwood 2.5 vertex, which means I'm not actually Norwood 3 yet, but I do have enough thinning that could almost put me on that level. Of course, I'm doing the rosemary oil, and I've been doing that for over a year now, and most of you seem to believe it's actually working. So I'll continue doing that as I continue to make myself a science experiment, a human guinea pig, as they say. So there we go. Keep in mind that one of the many parts of my hair loss theories on predicting hair loss is if at a young age, as a teenager, even aside from the whole thing about growing a full beard, if you're a hairy guy, I mean, and again, I was noticeably hairy. I was always the hairiest guy in the room. And once people saw me, they realized that. I mean, I didn't apologize for it. I mean, you know, and if anything, as a teenager, it's like, oh, well, I guess if anything, it's a good sign, because it's funny, men I've talked to that are in their 50s and have more hair than me will tell me all the same thing, that they had no body hair in high school, and people teased them for it. At least they felt insecure because they had none, and then they look at other guys, at least they had got hair on their chest. So I've never been short on on body hair, and it's definitely related to hair loss. And there's definitely exceptions to rules, just like that one video talked about. This is true 80% of the time, but you can't just look at this one aspect of it. You've got to look at all the other stuff, all the other theories, and use that as your overall projection. You can't just say, well, Nick, I don't have any chest hair and I went bald by 25. See, again, that's an exception to the rule. What other aspects were there out of all my theories? So thanks for the comments, and guys, thanks for backing me up, because either I'm crazy or I'm not.